Hi everyone, and welcome to Billy Fitzgerald Golf. And today I want to do a two-part series of probably one of the most critical, I hate to use the word, but I have to, positions in the golf swing that can kind of either make or break you. And I see this in all really good players. And that is right before impact, what the club face in your arm and hand is doing. So what I mean is that once we get down into impact, or coming down into impact, what this right hand is doing based on the face of the club. So again, because my hand matches the face, this is where we want to be coming into the ball with the face square or slightly tilted. You can see how that toe is tilted over. What it's not is it's not up, the toe isn't up in the air, which means the face is open, which is going to make, me do a number of things, and we're going to go over that into the ball. So what we're going to start to look at is how do I get the face here? Okay, this is probably one of the most important. Obviously, impact is number one, but to have good impact, we probably need to get the face right in here. It's very difficult to get into a good impact position from here. It's less complicated and more likely that you get into the ball if the leading edge or the face of the club is matching your spine angle halfway down and into the ball, where I can just run the face into the golf ball. So this video, part one, is going to be how do we get there and why do we want to get there? And part two is going to be what do we do with the club after we've got it there? Okay, so I'm going to kind of take you through, again, it's a very important part of where we want to be on the way down to play our best golf. So the first thing that needs to happen is we've got to make sure that your grip is right or correct. And all these things are just going to make it easier to get into this position. So again, your grip, and why it's easier, because if I get my grip right, so it's in the fingers and then over, so my hand is on the club just how it hangs in my shoulder socket. So if it's in the fingers, my hand is on top, and then my right hand goes right on the side. Reason number one why it's easier to get in there is because now my hands are on the golf club. So from face on, my hands just work this way. So you can see what it does to this right palm. It feels like the right palm is down to the ground a little more. So if I get my hands on the club and I lever and back, you can see how it's very easy if I get right in here and I get my hands on it. So if I don't do anything else but just lever and come back into the ball, it's very easy for me to get my hand into that position and the face square coming into the ball. That's number one. Okay, so why it would be more difficult to get your hand there if your grip is what I see a lot, which is too weak. So if my arm wants to hang this way and I put my hand on the club very neutral, so especially if this right hand is either underneath or way over on top, and this hand is way too neutral, I'd much rather have it more, a little bit more strong. If you can get it there. Most people have never been there, but so with this left hand, first of all, if it's too weak like this, my arm is always trying to get this way. So right from the start, when my arm swings back, what it wants to do typically is to line those joints up. So now if I go down the line here and I swing back with that weak grip, you can see what it does to the toe of the club. And then for me to get it down this way in the face turning down, I've got to do this with my wrist, which puts a lot of pressure on these joints in my wrist here. So now I've actually got to start twisting the face. So it adds another element of what I'm trying to do. Again, with the right hand, if my right hand is on, if it's not on the side and it's not matching the face and it's underneath here, now all of a sudden my hand can't match the face, so that makes it a little bit more complicated in how I want the face to come into the ball. So grip is number one, having the right grip, so your hands basically fit like this. And so once you do that, you build this lever system. When your left hand levers, your right hand wants to go directly into the ball and keep that face square. Let's backtrack just for a second, just for some of you who may not know why we want the face at that angle coming into the ball. When you look at the golf swing, and I'll get a little bit bigger club so it's easier to see, I'm dealing with a swing circle. In other words, the circle that this club face works on. to hit the ball almost with no effort, very straight. I want the face of this club running 90 degrees on the swing circle. So if I start here, it's at 90, and I swing back, so 90 would match my spine angle on the way up and on the way down. See, then I just run the face into the ball, and then as I go through, it's 90 as well. So if I'm swinging on a plane, or a circular plane, a tilted plane, and this face of the golf club is square to that plane, or 90 degrees to that plane, there's no manipulation in the face for me to make the ball go straight. Now, on the other hand, if I swing back and the face starts to go open and I come down open this way, this is where I see most people that come to see me. I come down open, what has to happen? Well, my body has to stop so the face of the club can catch up, and usually we get a lot of rotation in the face, so it becomes a massive timing mechanism. Again, it becomes very complicated in trying to hit the ball straight. It's almost an impossible shot because of all of this. So, we're either going to have to hold the face off and hit a big cut, or really twist it and hit the ball is always curving, which again is a way to play the game, but we're trying to be, again, as simple as possible with this. So that's why we want the face here, so it's 90 degrees to that swing circle. So we've established the grip and how the face works. The second part would be what your body's doing, and again, we're just talking about getting into that position on the way down. Okay, so what your body's doing. So the easiest way to do this, so once I get my grip right, the easiest way to get into that spot is for my right hip to get out of the way and stay out of the way, so my hand and my arms can come right back to where they need to be, which is in front of my right thigh, so my hands can get right here. So again, if my right hip got out of the way and I'm starting to come down, you can see my arms, my hands are kind of underneath me where the face of the club is. Again, that's where I want to be. Now, again, what I deal with quite a bit is that moving into the golf ball. So if our body pushes up into the ball, what does that do with my hands? Well, my hands are going to go forward as well, because if my hips move into it, then my hands will move into it, which again, because of my joint alignment, my arms is going to make the face behind and open. Again, I see this a lot. So if I swing back and I do have the right grip and I have the right face on the way back, and I swing back, and my first move is to jump up in front of it, see my hands start to work into the ball, the face gets behind me, and it's open. So again, what has to happen is my body has to stop and stall out so the face of the club can try to catch up. Again, a very complicated thing to make happen. So this is where we start to get into why we're using your body circle, or how we're using the ground. See, my right and left hips are starting to work so I can keep that face of the club on the swing arc and 90 degrees to that swing arc. So it's, in theory, what I'd like to have happen is the face of the club running up and down the swing arc at 90 degrees. So what has to happen with my body? Well, I've got my grip correct. And as I swing back, my right hip is going to work back, right? And as I transition to keep my right hip back, my left hip's going to work back even farther. So it's right hip back, and then I start to lean. My left hip starts to work this way, so my right hip doesn't go into the ball, so my hands can get where they need to go. So, for some of us, it's going to be, first get your hands on it right and start to work the face properly. Now, if you already do that, and then we're going to start working your, how do we work the ground? How are we working your body circle to make sure, that we're stabilizing the golf club? So again, when you swing, we'll get your grip on there and start to feel how your right hip works back and then your left hip works back, so I can get the face right here and run it right into the ball. Now, lastly would be how my hands work the face throughout the swing. So you can see we're starting to put, all of these little things together. So my hands, again, knowing that they're on the club right, my hands start to work. My right hand specifically starts to work back this way and down. So if my hands are on the club correctly, this right arm is, my right hand is going to feel like it's down to the ground, to the camera, down to the ground. And this left arm is just going to go lever and back, up and down. Now when I put my hands on it again, I start to feel back and down. So my hands aren't really doing very much. They don't have to do very much because of how they are on the golf club. And back down right there. So we've got three things: how your grip works and how it works the face, how your body works and how it stays out of the way of the swing, and then how your hands work up and down. So we put those three together. I get my hands right and start to feel right hip out of the way and down. So again, as I'm doing that, I start to feel there, hip out of the way and down. So you can start to see how the face is starting to work into the ball. So just hit a little one here, going over that. Hands are ready to go. I start to swing back, so it's back, down. So the ball again is going to go fairly straight. So make sure you get your hands on it right. Make sure that your body starts to get out of the way, and make sure your arms and hands are working properly on the backswing and on the downswing to get the face where you want it. Back and down. So you can start to feel where I want the face to come into the ball. Now, obviously we had to talk about, quite a few positions there, but what I'd have you do is start very, very slow with this, or even if you take your right arm only and swing back and forth and start to feel how your right hand works. And then you put both hands on and start to feel how your right hip gets out of the way a little bit, and how your right hand gets right on the back of the ball and into it. So again, start small, start from impact, and start with these little swings and start to naturally, build your swing out. So again, video one, how our hands and body and arms start to work, but more than anything, what we're trying to do with the face of the club and what our body has to do. If I'm trying to get right here, my body, if that's the task, then all of a sudden my body starts to work in a manner that I can get my hands in the right position. So that's part one. Get the face right where you want it, right in here. And then the rest we're going to go in part two. Once we've got it there, what do we do with it? Hi everyone, like and subscribe to my channel, Billy Fitzgerald Golf, for all tips on golf. If you'd like a live lesson or want to send me a message, visit me at billyfitzgeraldgolf.com.